Hi, it's me, TFR Wilderness. It's review time. Second KTRT review for this month. Because I got 2 Korean toys this month, and they are the remaining members of the Penta Storm X team. And in my last review, you saw me do a review of Penta Storm X. A Sky SWAT X. Wasn't too impressed with her because she's got this really ugly sort of SWAT truck aesthetic, and when you transform her into robot mode, it doesn't look that much better, to be honest. And I'm not a huge fan of the look of that thing, but anyway, that's part of the reason why I said in that review that were it not for me wanting, needing to buy it in order to complete the combiner, I wouldn't have got it. Now, this final member, Fron, the police car, or Fron Police X. Same applies to him, actually, because even though he's slightly better than Sky in terms of his aesthetic in both robot and car mode, I'm still not a huge fan of the way he looks. So I will get into that in the course of this video. I've got quite a few props for this video because there are things about Fron's robot mode, because he's loaded with kibble that I think is inexcusable, to be honest. And I have a few examples of other Carbot cars of the past which use their kibble in a similar way but more successfully. And I've got other versions of Pron's original design from the original series of Hello Carbots. Right, so let's get started with the review proper. So for me, the final member of the Penta Storm X combiner, he's there. That's Penta Storm X. I've kind of got him up on the shelf, sort of built up, with the exception of this limb. I'm not going to be showing him in this video, apart from that little teaser you got there. I'm not going to be showing him off at the end of this video, oh, here's the completed combiner. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a separate video where I'm going to show the 2 Penta Storm combiners together as like a comparison review video. So how does Penta Storm X measure up against the original Penta Storm, so to speak? Either a KTRT comparison or a combiner comparison video. So that's my plan, and hopefully I will get that out next week. But the focus of this week's review is for this guy. So let's start off with a box. Here is Fron's box. Now, originally, when this guy first came out, there was a bit of ambiguity with his name, as there are with some other Korean toys. I thought his name was Pron with a P, and I saw video reviews on YouTube where they were referring to it as Pron with a P. People selling the toy on eBay were calling him Pron with a P, and when you listen to Chatan and Pron speaking their name on the show, it sounded like they were going P rather than F. I think it's probably down to the way the Koreans pronunciate certain phrases. It sounds different to the way we do it in the West. Let's put it that way. They do things slightly differently, but it leads to some confusion, and that's where my confusion got with the name. So for the sake of this review, I'm calling him Fron with a F. But if you do hear me say Pron with a P, that's just me reverting back to old habits, so to speak. So just ignore it. Anyway, Fron's box. He's got the new style box. Fron Police X. Got the big X logo. It's from season 9, Hello Carbots. The Penta Storm team are in season 10. This Bang, Hello Carbots Bang season. They are in that as well. So these toys are still available. So it's got pictures on the back. It's got pictures of the completed combiner on the back as well. And then it's got stuff there, and on the top it's got a bit saying that you get the little cube with the chip in it, which you can put into the watch, turn the dial, it makes lights and sounds, plays music and voice clips from the character from the show. This box, like the others, comes with a cardboard, sort of egg carton type, container for the toy. You have to mistransform it to get it into this. Also comes with, you know, instructions showing you how to, you know, transform the toy to and from alt mode, robot mode, and into combiner mode, and combine it with Penta Storm X. So here he is. Here is Fron in his police car mode. Now we look around it. It is a police car, fairly, you know, innocuous, fictitious looking police car. It's got nice chrome wheels, and if you look at the chrome wheels, they've actually got a star, you know, like the police star designed into the wheels. That's quite cool. It's got a big chrome grille. It's got transparent lights on the front. It's got the police lights on the top. It's got transparent red lights in the back. Now, the aesthetic on this car is a little unusual. When you look at the front of the car, the hood or the bonnet is very swollen, very bulky, very chunky. You can see, look at the car mode, you know, I mean, like, if the, you know, the driver was in there, he could barely see across the hood of the car. You know, it's so bulky, and it takes up a lot of the vehicle mode. I mean, you know, almost a third of the car's length is taken up by the front end. Also, you can probably see there's some panel gaps around here that don't quite close up, and then this thing doesn't sit down either. And also, the styling of this car is a little unusual, because the front end, I think, looks like a Mercedes-Benz C-Class. And when you go around the back end, to me, is kind of like the rear end on a Mark IV Toyota Supra. So you got Toyota Supra, Mercedes C-Class, sort of like sandwiched together to make, you know, like a coupe-style police car. Paint apps are, I mean, it's got some painted stripes here. It's got the police logo emblazoned on the doors. The rest of it's just coloured plastic. Underneath, obviously, you've got scrunched up robot bits. Now, he comes with a weapon. It is a nightstick, you know, a baton for battering bad guys over the head with. Now, at first I thought, I can't find anywhere for this to go in his alt mode, because most of the original Carbot toys, they had a place where you could stick the sword, the gun, whatever, in their vehicle mode. And he's got these unusual clips here on the underside of the car mode. And I thought, what the hell are they for? They don't do anything else. They're not part of the combiner gimmick. And then when I looked in the instructions, it's actually weapon storage. So what you can do is you've got these little clips. You can clip the baton in to these like so. It will go on one side, and it will also go on the other side as well. It's a bit tight to get in there, but there it goes. So it does give him weapon. He has got weapon storage in vehicle mode, which is good. Now, before we go any further, obviously it's got large wheels that do spin quite well. It's a car. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the aesthetic of the alt mode. It's a lot better than Sky's alt mode, to be fair. But you know, the proportions of it are a little odd. They've got this huge sort of front end, and it's got, you know, slight, you know, sort of confused styling cues with the rest of it. Now, I have here Fron's original, or Pron as I called him back in the day, his original car mode. Now, this is back in the day when they used to have licensed Hyundai alt modes. This is a scale model. I can't remember. I think it's a 1/21st scale Hyundai Avanti. I know my lights are swamping this out a little bit, but yeah, very detailed car mode, just like the real thing. And then we got size comparison. So yeah, this is obviously a much smaller car mode than this thing. I don't know what scale this would be. This would probably be like a 1/28th or a 1/30th scale compared to like a 1/21st, 1/22nd scale. But yeah, And this was Fron's original colour in the show. His car mode was yellow, and his robot mode was yellow, red, white, and a bit of silver. And I'll get to the robot mode in a bit. I'll transform it and you can see his robot mode. But you know, there's an example between Fron's new car mode and his old car mode. Now, also in the original show, when there were episodes where Fron, because the Carbots can change their colour, they can just at a moment's notice they can just they can change their colours to look like something else. And usually they change their colours into an emergency vehicle. And Fron, in the original seasons of Hello Carbots, he had his police car mode. Now this is his original police car mode. Again, it's a Hyundai Avanti, but it's done up as a Korean police car. And as I understand it, I think the Korean police actually use these cars. I could be wrong. It might be just me watching the show, but I think the Korean police actually used to use the Avanti as a police car. Don't quote me on that, but so yeah, it is again based on a real world vehicle. Now, this is one of the Limbots from Penta Storm, the original Penta Storm. In the show, Fron would change his colours, into these, and then he would combine with the rest of the team to form Penta Storm. So this is a Limbot from the Penta Storm team. Again, it's got nice chrome wheels. It's got like tinted windows. It's got transparent lights, front and rear. It's quite a detailed little car mode, but it doesn't actually transform into a robot. But I got it out again to show the differences between Fron's original police car mode and Fron's new, Fron X's new police car mode. Now you can see these cars are a lot better scaled together. Again, this is, as you can see, this is considerably smaller than the full-size transforming toy, but it's more in scale with this thing. Now the styling of the markings on this one is a bit different to this one. The stripes on the hood are largely the same, but the colouring on the back end's a bit different. I don't know whether police cars in Korea are more like this than like this now. I don't know, but they might have just changed the colouring to look slightly different, again to move away from licensing issues. So they come up with a fictitious design, but that's just showing those two together. Now, obviously this guy transforms into a robot, so let's get on with that, shall we? Transformation being a Carbot, transformation's quite simple, quite intuitive. So let's make a start. Now, I like to break its back like that to start off the transformation. It sort of unclips the doors, and then these form the legs. So then you've got the arms, which you can pull out on these joints. Then you can split the legs, move the arms out of the way a bit. Then you can take these window bits from the back of the car and just move them out of the way for a minute. Then you unfold the feet. They're on a double linkage, and when they fold down, they take the rear quarter of the car with them because they're screwed into the side of the foot. So that comes out and down, and then there's actually a clip where this can clip into the back of the ankle, sort of, but it doesn't really work. Just fold the other foot out, and then they do have a clip in the back of this to clip into the back of that, but it doesn't really work, so you're better off just leaving them dangling down the back. And they're the legs. Now moving on upwards, the arms, they're basically transformed already. Just fold the elbows forward, And then you fold down the hood like you did on Sky. You just fold the hood down. Again, doesn't peg in, but it's a bit tighter on this one, so it sort of stays put when you place it. Then you open this flap at the back, flip out the head, shut the panel, and there we have Fron in his robot mode. Now, he's alright. Before we get into anything else, let's do a quick size comparison. Let's do size comparison with my usual size comparison, which is Combiner Wars Megatron. And as you can see, he's quite small, as Sky was. So he's quite smaller than leader class. And if you give me a moment, I will transform Pron here into his robot mode. So you just give me a moment. Right, so got him into, there's Pron, the original Pron. See, I'm calling him Pron again. Fron in his original robot mode, and here's Fron X. And again, you can see how much smaller these new X figures are compared to the original ones. Now, I have got a couple of other size comparisons. I've also got from season 2 Genesis Born, and again, he's a lot smaller than Genesis Born. And as another size comparison from season 1 and 2, I've got Grandeur Hawk, and again, Fron X is quite smaller than Grandeur Hawk. Now this guy, in his robot mode, he has his own set of problems as far as I'm concerned, and they largely revolve around kibble. This guy does not wear his kibble particularly well. And what I'm mainly referring to is these door panels, which are attached to the inside of the arms. As you can see, there's the arm there. And obviously it forms the side of the car. And when you're in robot mode, you can't quite get the elbow round to 90 degrees. There is a bicep swivel, but the door is, it's just attached to the back of the arm, and his fist is sort of inside the the panel of the door, and it just looks, I don't know, I don't care much for that. These big door panels are like hanging off here. And then we've got the legs. Now we've got these panels here, which is the rear quarter panels of the car, are attached to the side of the foot. So when you move the foot, it moves the side panel of the car. Now he does have ankle tilts, but this is not the foot. This is just a kibble panel that's attached to the side of the foot. Now, when you look how much they stick out the front of his robot mode, they've got this massive, great bulk sticking there, this chunk of car sticking out the front, and then in front of where his feet should be. Again, I don't really care much for that aesthetic either. Now, he's got the same sort of hood chest as design as Sky, because they share the same engineering for the combiner, so that they're similar molds. It's got the chest piece that folds down that doesn't plug in, but it does stay put on this version because it's the joints are a lot stiffer, and it stays put. His head sculpt is okay. Again, it's a little bit nestled in the inside this hood piece. Wish it could have been stick up a little more. So yeah, like I said, I don't care much for the kibble on this guy. Now, as an example of this style of kibble, i.e. using the rear quarters of the door as part of the legs or the feet, this is why I've got Grandeur Hawk out, because he has the same design. The rear quarter of panel of the car is attached to the side of his foot. So yeah, but he actually wears it a lot better. I mean, his feet are actually a bit longer, and they stick out and they're just proud of the edge or the front of the car panel that's on the side of his leg. And then obviously Genesis Born has got exactly the same sort of style of design. Rear quarter panel of the car is attached to the side of his foot, and that's just a single piece that just folds up and down. And same on Grandeur Hawk, it just folds up and down. It's just part of the foot, and they work reasonably well. And then you compare it to Fron here, and it just looks, just looks unsightly and overt kibble. It's really sticking out, and no, doesn't really work for me, that. And then getting onto the door panels on the arms. I mean, we've got the same sort of deal with Genesis Born here, because he has got the similar sort of design where he's got the door panel is attached to the outside of his arm. Now he does have, he's got like a sliding panel. You can slide it backwards and forwards to either cover his arm or, expose his fist. The door hangs down underneath his arm, so if you look, you can see there's his arm and there's the door. And again, it's not great the way they do it on this, but it's better than the way they do it on this. I mean, on this guy, they've just, the door isn't even square. The arm isn't even square with the door. It's like at an angle, and he can actually get 90 degrees out of his elbows as well, whereas Fron can't. So yeah, these kibble that's on this robot mode, I don't really care much for it. And again, that's the main reason why I wasn't planning on getting this guy, but were it not for completing the combiner. So articulation on this thing, like Sky, decently articulated. Now it's got a ball jointed head, it's quite stiff, it's got a decent amount of range. It has got this thing where it can move forwards and backwards. You have to sort of flip this panel out the back because it rests right on the back of it. Shoulders, now it got the same design on the shoulders as Sky. Sky had this excessive play on this axle that goes through between the shoulders. This guy is better. He still has a little bit of play in the individual arms, but they're not sort of linked so much together. Again, it's got shoulder ratchets which go all the way around. There's a double linked shoulder joint which can go out sort of that far. You can sort of pull it back a bit more if you move it out of the way. Now, he does have bicep swivels, and he's got an elbow which sort of struggles. I mean, technically the elbow does kind of get to 90 degrees. No, not quite, but because of the angle of the door, it's a bit misleading. He does have a waist joint, and he's got 5 swivels. Got now a decent knee bend, but obviously because the backpack's in the way when you're moving the knee back, it restricts movement. But he has got 90-degree knee bend, and then he's got ankle tilts. So he has got ankle tilts, but again, because of all this excessive kibble around the feet, it's difficult to make out what the feet are actually doing, even though he'd be sort of firmly planted on the ground. So he's decently articulated. He's reasonably colourful, but again, I don't. The look of the thing, I'm not a huge fan of it because of the way they've handled the kibble on the doors and on the feet, on the arms and the feet. It just looks weird, and again, I would not have got this guy were not for I need it to complete the combiner. Speaking of combiner, he does have an arm mode. So like Sky, you basically go back to vehicle mode. So you basically go back to vehicle mode. So you basically open the front end again, and then you angle. There's a peg in there and a port on the inside of the arm. You angle it up, fold it back, and it plugs in like so. And then that's that. You then end up with the fist. It has got a semi-articulated thumb piece which comes out like so. Now you can I'm not sure if you can fold. Right, so I think you sort of fold up the legs a little bit more, and then combiner ports, fold it out. Got these silver pieces, and again it's got like a little notch, a little peg in the waist that has to be angled just right before it'll plug in to the waist, and then that's the arm for Penta Storm. Now, like I said, I've got Penta Storm just up here, Penta Storm X, so I could attach him to him and show you the full combiner, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to do that in a next video, the next review, which hopefully I'll do next week, because I'm going to show you the completed combiner along with the original Penta Storm combiner as like a comparison video. So yeah, that's the arm mode such as it is. I have combined Sky to Penta Storm X, and spoilers, it's not very good. The connection port, the angle of the arm, it's not very good. I'm not impressed with the way the arms work on Penta Storm X, but we will get into that in some depth in the next video. So Fron, whatever I want to call him. He's okay. He looks unusual. His alt mode is a bit confused in what it wants to be. I mean, it's all police car, but is it a Mercedes? Is it a Supra? You know, it's styling's a bit all over the place. It's got this enormous sort of bulbous hood that you know, makes the proportions of car mode look a bit weird, and the robot mode has got kibble, excessive kibble in a few places, which in my opinion spoils the aesthetic of the robot mode. If I had a choice to buy one of the two figures, this or Sky, I probably would have gone with this one, because I like it a little bit better than Sky. But on the whole, I wouldn't have got it, but for getting the combiner, and that will be the focus of my next video, which hopefully I will get done for next week, next Saturday, which will be a comparison video between the two Penta Storm combiners. So look forward to that. And just putting this on the end of the video, you probably noticed I'm wearing some different spectacles for this review. The reason is my normal specs, I've broken them again. They're really worn out. I need to get some new specs. I need to go to the opticians and get my eyes tested, but because of you know, COVID crisis, I haven't got around to it recently. So these are a spare pair that I've dug out, and I'm sort of super gluing the other specs in the other room. Hopefully put them together again. But that's been my review of Fron Police X, and I've been Tifa Wilderness, and thank you for watching this review. I will catch you all next time. Ta-da.